time to talk about a team that maybe let's just all pump the brakes a little bit here, buddy. Let's all just slow. Let's just the water's cooled a little bit on this Indianapolis Colts team. They lost in overtime 23-20 to the Kansas City Chiefs. It's feeling like reality, and they're coming back to earth now. That potentially this Colts team is not as incredible as the season record and the season they've had is showing. This game certainly put the ball into Daniel Jones's hands, and I mean, I think from a Giants perspective and from someone who watched Daniel Jones for a long time, probably not the sort of thing you should be doing is trusting Daniel Jones to win you games. And it feels like maybe in these games and when they are struggling, that they're going to have to trust Jones to push the ball down the field, Andrew. And I mean, it didn't work against the Kansas City Chiefs, did it?
No, I think they coasted through the first 6 weeks of the season by giving the ball to Jonathan Taylor and let him go in on an absolute mad one. And Daniel Jones only having to throw the ball sort of 20 times a game and manage it. And he's fine at that. We saw that at the Giants. We saw the season that the Giants got to the playoffs with Daniel Jones. It was Saquon Barkley heavy, and Daniel Jones just did his little bit here and there, and it worked for us. And it was working for them. But as soon as teams work that out, and as soon as they go, right, let's drop our secondary back and then put some pressure on and stop the run, and then Daniel Jones has got to beat us on his own, it just doesn't happen. It's not, you say that it didn't happen against the Kansas City Chiefs. It hasn't happened for the last 3 weeks, Fred. Against your Pittsburgh Steelers, against Atlanta to where it took them to overtime, and then last week to overtime. If you put the ball in his hands and ask him to throw 30 plus times, he will make mistakes. And he wasn't good enough, especially when you do just talk about this Kansas City Chiefs game. The fourth quarter, they had the game won. It was done. They had that turnover off the fumble. It was their game. And in the fourth quarter, Daniel Jones had no first downs and 18 yards, and they just let him continue to throw the ball, and he could not come up with the goods. Whereas Pat Mahomes on the other side, 13 first downs and God knows how many yards, and that's what you want at your quarterback. And I think if this team, it looks like it will, get to the playoffs, I don't think it's doing anything. I think teams have worked them out now, and we've seen it 3 weeks on the bounce. They've been worked out. So I just can't see them making any noise in the playoffs, which people thought they might based off of the start they had at the start of the year.
Now, I don't want to be like bragging or anything, but this guy here maybe said that for the whole season I've said this, is that this Colts team sort of stinks of the Arizona Cardinals, who went on a fantastic run that one year, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who went on that fantastic run that one year, and it all just collapsed. And when you look at the remaining fixtures, Houston, they've got Jacksonville. In fact, they've got They've got two division teams 4 times. I think that now the risk is they might not even win the division. It could even be like they won't win the division, and they might not even make the playoffs if the other AFC teams around them start to improve, Adam. What are we thinking on that?
Who are you having for the division? The Texans?
You've got an amazing defense, CJ Stroud coming back, and the Jags, I think, on any good day.
I don't know. CJ Stroud, I think they're better with Davis Mills, aren't
they? Well, their defense will certainly hold them.
It will. I must admit,
and sorry, on the other side of that, they are at Seattle and hosting San Francisco.
Yeah.
2 big games as well. 2 big games as well, then.
They have got some tough games. Seattle. I just quickly had a look actually at their results. All 3 losses have come away from home. And actually, when you actually look at who they beat the Broncos in week 2, who are a good team, that's fair enough, and the Chargers in week 7. But when you look at all the other wins, they're not particularly great teams. They're pretty poor teams. You've got the Dolphins, the Titans, the Raiders, the Cardinals.
Because everyone said that about the Patriots. Everyone has said that about the Patriots. Who have you beaten?
Yeah. it's a similar story.
Who have the Colts beaten? They beat the Broncos.
They've beaten the Chargers and the Broncos.
Yeah. I mean,
but the Broncos was very early.
Yeah,
that was week 2.
And what?
The Chargers was week 7, and they
Jonathan Taylor. Was that a game that Jonathan
Probably.
Taylor had like 165 yards and 3 touchdowns? Was it? I don't know.
Was
Well,
it
not
the
just
Bron-
that.
the
That was
Broncos
probably
game?
the game where they had Joe out, Rashawn Slater out, both their running backs out. You know, they were pretty banged up, the Chargers. So it's
The Chargers. The game they rushed for 123 touchdowns.
wow, that's impressive.
123 touchdowns. That's real.
Sorry, no, they rushed for 120 and got 3 touchdowns. Is what I mean.
We've really
However,
got to do like a little montage of some of your stuff, mate.
Well, I dropped loads on the betting show over the weekend. Lost the plot off towards the end.
But yeah, they have got some tough ones. I feel like it's going to be the Texans rather than the Jags. I really don't think the Jags are very good. But the Texans defense is very good. The Colts, yeah, I think you were right. I mean, it's one of them things where they're just not. When you start looking into it, and they haven't won many games against good teams that don't have injury issues, and it is very much all about Jonathan Taylor. And I hate to say it, but I think that after last week, everybody knows the game plan now. Just literally stop Jonathan Taylor and force Daniel Jones into making mistakes.
It's not as if the Colts have bad wide receivers and a bad O-line. They've got
not at all. Great O-line.
And then, they've got Alec Pierce who can get downfield, and they've got Pittman who's just great all over the field, and Josh Downs is top quality, and Tyler Warren as well. I forgot about that. So it's when you're putting it in his hands, it's not as if you're saying, oh, we're putting it in his hands, but our O-line's broken, we've got no weapons. They've got above average weapons and O-line, and he can't get it done.
Would it shock you both to know that when Jones has thrown it more than they have rushed, that he is 5-2?
There you go.
See, I knew this was coming because you said this before we started, and it is surprising. However, who's he played against?
Yeah,
exactly.
This is the point, isn't it?
You've answered the question. It harks back to who have it. I mean, even the Denver win was a point.
Yeah,
there's a point in that game, so that turns into a loss, and then suddenly you're going, well, they can't beat the big teams. Can't beat the big teams. They'd lost to the Broncos, the Rams. Okay, they beat the Chargers, but you lose to Steelers, you lose to the Chiefs. I know it's in overtime, but still, you had such a lead, and then it's crumbled down. And I just think, I think, you might say it sounds ridiculous that Houston or Jacksonville could even go above them in the division, but when you've got to play them 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you say the Jags are bad. How many times have we seen the Jags beat the Colts?
Hang on. Jags aren't bad. Trevor Lawrence is bad.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence is bad.
But how many times have we seen the Jags beat the Colts in that final 2 games? And the Jags are 4 wins on the season. And they beat them. It's been some of the most memorable few weeks, games have been some of the memorable ones in them last 2 weeks of the seasons where you're a little bit like, oh, well, there's nothing really more to play for anymore with some of this. And I mean, they beat the Colts the other year to stop the Colts getting to the playoffs, didn't they?
So they've got to play the Jags twice, the Texans twice, the Seahawks and the 49ers, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to teams, defenses giving up rushing yards, Jacksonville's number 1, Seattle's number 4, Houston's number 5, San Francisco's number 10.
So
they've got really tough matchups against teams who are good again, and Kansas City are tied 8th. So
oh, sorry, I thought you meant as in they give up, as in
no, they're the best.
They are bad.
They're the best.
Wow.
They don't give up yards. That's what I mean. They're ranked in the top 10, all of them. So that obviously that doesn't mean that Jonathan Taylor's not going to do nothing.
For all you fantasy fans, it would have been a good time to probably sell Jonathan Taylor.
When you look at that, it does make you think you've got teams that they're going up against who are very good against the run, and that's going to be tough if basically they limit what Jonathan Taylor can do, because then it does all go into Daniel Jones's hands.
There's a bigger question here. Now I might be stealing the thunder off of Fred. He might have had this question lined up, but there's a bigger there's a bigger question here. Are they going to pay Daniel Jones a big packet now and say,
They're going to have to.
Look what he's done. He's the guy. This is fantastic. Are they going to give him a 4-year massive deal and do what the Giants did, and in 2 years' time be sorry they did it and cutting him and having to take a dead cap? Or do they need to look elsewhere yet again for a new quarterback?
No, I think they're going to have to. I think they're going to end up having to
it'll be 4 years.
They're going to have to do the Trevor Lawrence deal. I don't think they're going to have a choice here, where it's kind of like maybe not the Trevor Lawrence deal, maybe just slightly, maybe like the Tua deal. So it's a bit less on the money, because they'll come out and go, look, in all seriousness, you're not like top of the
How
list.
old is he? He's what, 28?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think
they've got no first round pick.
I don't think they do. I don't think he has shown enough around franchises in the league for you to go, oh, I would take it. I would definitely take him on, sort of thing. And we talked about it earlier. I mean, he could go to Cleveland. Maybe that's what he does next year, is go to Cleveland, because he doesn't get a contract in Indianapolis. But then for me, then the Colts are just back to square one again.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe they're not. Maybe Anthony Richardson sits behind Daniel Jones and learns learns through the crystal ball of Daniel Jones of how to play in the NFL, and comes and becomes what he was absolutely meant to be, but has completely fell short of the mark on. I highly doubt that. Highly doubt that. And then we're just getting more of the same with the Colts. And as you alluded to there, Adam, they've got no picks anymore. They went.
Do you think they went all in too early as well? Do you think they were
way too early? Yeah. Way too early. I mean, I sort of get it, like with the Steelers, with how we sort of maneuvered and got people in and stuff like that, and went a bit crazy over the off season. But they have gone way. I mean, the topic we talked about earlier, the Rams, that made sense. It made complete sense why the Rams were shifting off all them picks, because they got a quarterback that was a proven winner and is going to be a Hall of Famer. Even before he joined the Rams, he was probably going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. This is Daniel Jones we're talking about here. So I could not stretch to I couldn't stretch to a 3-4 year deal. I couldn't stretch to it. I'd be looking at 2. I don't think the money's great on that. Or 2, and you overpay. You overpay for 2 years. But you've got some big names on that team as well who've got contracts. I know Sauce is going to have an element of his paid by the Jets, but you've still got DeForest Buckner in there, Michael Pittman, your O-line, Quentin Nelson's not on a small contract. They've not got. I wonder how much money they have to play with, actually.
What, cap space?
Yeah.
I personally don't think they're going to have a choice. I think they're going to have to give him some form of decent deal, because they haven't got the ability to go and get one through the draft, have they? And their cap space at the moment is not a lot. Let's have a look for 2026.
They're going to have to try and extend Jonathan Taylor as well, aren't they?
At the moment, they are going to have 141 million, so they're pretty high. They're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th in the in the league.
But you use a huge portion of that on DJ.
I think they're going to have to. I don't, because it reaches a point of who else do you bring in? You can't. I think there's, and also I do feel there is an element that the Colts fans are probably a little bit fed up with the constant changing at quarterback. And although I don't think he's going to get you over the line, I think that there is a game plan here where they can win games and they can do okay with it. So I think that's probably what will happen. They've put themselves in a position where they can't go out and get themselves one through the draft. And
well, so they could take a punt on one of the later ones, couldn't they? They could.
Yeah, but They're going to be sitting behind him then, aren't they? In which case you're going to
That
have to
might
give him
not be a
deal.
bad thing though. If he plays at a medium level and they're going, this isn't enough, then at least they've got something to go. Maybe this is the future.
They have Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, he won't be on the team next year, will he?
I think historically there's not many quarterbacks that work out that are late round hits, are there? And that's the issue with that. There's a few, but there's not many.
Yeah.
I'm talking like proper decent quarterbacks.
But if they then give him a 4-year deal and it's like tour money, for me, like in 2 years, I think you're going to be really regretting that.
It'll be. I think it'll be a 4-year with like a sort of get out after 2 years.
What's the highest at the moment? It's about 60, isn't it?
60 a year.
Yeah. I think it's about the highest.
Around that, yeah. What was Sam Darnold's deal? 120, wasn't it? For 3
years?
3 years? I think you could take that. I think you could do 3 years for 80 or 90.
So Sam Darnold was 100 million over 3 years with 55 guaranteed.
So yeah, if you did 155 really. So I think if you did that, but let's say 110 for 3 years.
I don't think that's enough.
You guys, no, with quarterback inflation in the money, you guys are saying it's Tua Trevor Lawrence money, which is
that's what I think it is. I think you're looking at like 55 million a year.
Yeah.
And I think you'll get it because they've put themselves in a position where they can't go and do anything else.
He is actually effectively holding all the cards at this point. Really.
Yeah, and also like realistically, when you think of other players that are available or that you could go and trade for, is there actually anyone that's going to be available that you can trade for that's going to be any better? That doesn't mean that Jones is great. It just means there isn't anything better. So I think he gets.
I'm telling you, man, Kyler Murray's got a future somewhere in this league. He's gonna.
Yeah, for you, mate. That's where he's going.
We're bringing back Rodgers. Then you worry about us. We're fine. We're fine with how you Rod.
Maybe he can like sit on Rodgers' shoulders and throw the ball. Then he'll be able to see over the O-line.
It'd just be like Big Ben in disguise.
Why don't they get Dylan Gabriel and Kyler Murray and play them as one person?
That's true.
We may have a half a chance then. Maybe you have half